She better not. She better cut out when I'm an asshole. She better cut that out.
Mind cutting this out? Sorry.
Cut that.
Welcome to Studio BeanCan's Drawing Board segment. These are collections of musings, thoughts, arguments caught on tape while recording the time-lapse videos and put together just for you. Think about this as the BeanCan scrap pile. I hope you enjoy it. Let's go. Let's do it. What are you gonna do next month, Kurt?
I'm gonna criticize you two. That's my plan. I'm just listening. I'm listening, and then I'm gonna criticize.
My expectation is you're gonna do some other stuff because you've been really busy.
I just ordered the books.
Nice.
And I ordered all the prints and the book plate. And so now it's just like hoping everything prints right, and I get it, and it doesn't rain and ruin everything. Whatever.
What the rain will?
No, like if they drop it off.
Oh, right.
Like, in the gate.
And it gets soggy.
And it gets all soggy.
Yeah.
Hey man, that's how the print.
It'll add to the book.
I think it will. Like
special Aquaman feature.
There's a lot of wetness.
So is that's like this week though? That's gonna happen, right?
No, I just ordered it.
Oh, okay.
It usually takes maybe at fastest is 2 weeks.
Okay.
So hopefully that happens. But then I have to get everything ready to ship out. I have to do the inventory of the Kickstarter backers and figure out like who ordered what add-ons people got, which ones are like overseas and stuff.
How do Kickstarters work?
So basically right now, you make a Kickstarter, people will back the Kickstarter.
Yeah, but they've already paid it.
No,
they made a commitment to pay.
Yeah. They made a commitment to pay. Then once and you set it for like, I did 2.5 weeks, but generally it's a month. Once that month's over, then that's when the charges to the credit card happen.
Oh.
I just think there's a basic thing that's worth mentioning is like part of the reason you don't get billed right away is the premise of Kickstarter is you need a minimum amount of money. So like the idea is it's for projects that if you don't get X amount of money, you can't do it at all. So like So if
it's an all or nothing.
It's an all or nothing, which is cool because that makes it a story and that makes people want to talk about it. And there's like a mini industry of people kind of talking about current Kickstarters, which is why even like mid-sized publishers do Kickstarters for their books. These days.
It seems like a lot of indie or mid-indie. I mean that Berserker was a
Keanu Reeves one.
They do a lot of stuff on Kickstarter.
So publishers do Kickstarter.
Yeah, I mean,
it's weird.
So if you're having a Kickstarter at the same time as Keanu Reeves, that's gonna draw a lot of people to the site. So maybe they'll browse around and see your stuff. But
and then they'll be like, here's some other things that are right now that you might like. If you like Death of Power, consider reading this adult comic book.
Consider reading Faces of Death, the comic.
But so next month mostly
Necromantic, the comic book.
Next month you're mostly trying to
me?
Do Kickstarter stuff?
That's gonna be the main thing, and then also just I think like at least this next week I'm gonna be working a lot on doing lettering the next issue.
Okay.
And hopefully I'll be able to get at least 1 or 2 pages drawn. Yeah.
So
for the month?
No, for next week.
Oh,
so
my goals are a bit broader because I have less time. I have to work every day, so I only have like small portions of time to put my projects in for now.
One of the things that's helped me get better at comics and better at different things is like getting better at having extended excitement for a thing that I haven't gotten any feedback for. But I do tend to taper off after around 3 months. I know that about myself. I get from the like excited, oh this is gonna be awesome, to the be like, I don't know if this is good. Which is sometimes a helpful loop because like when I revisited my next comic that I did the 100-page or the 200-page draft of, I had a much more critical eye of it. Like I could see what I was trying to do because I'm myself, but I was also like much better at seeing what wasn't working. Anyway.
It is a good balance of being critical about your work, but also, you know, doing what you feel like you want to do with your work.
So I'm trying to, in the next month, this should go live. I would like my webcomics to start coming out, which means that in this next week, I need to finalize the thumbnail. I need to finalize the thumbnails for the first chapter. So that's exciting. So that's the big thing this week. I need to do the thumbnails for the next chapter. And a lot of this stuff I'm doing is just about setting up the treadmill and keeping up with it. Since I haven't been doing the webcomic yet, I've just been showing like the doodles I'm doing, the sketches, and then also putting up an old book of mine for free for the Patreons. So I've got 2 Bears in Spaces up, my 250-page film about Billy, my over 100 pages of free money comics, like all of that's up for free for them, and every week I just basically put up a new one of those. I feel like I'm getting kind of, even describing what I'm doing next month is scattered, but...
Yeah, maybe you might be doing too much.
I am.
Yeah, you might be trying to do too much, and maybe, like, you know, which is fine, but it's, at least for me, like, when I put a lot of pressure on expectation of success, it actually adds more stress.
Yeah.
So for me, like lowering that expectation can sometimes make me more productive. You know,
I mean, the thing is that about the writing process of comics, I don't know what's you. It's like a weird magic where it's like I've done it enough, I know I can do it in X amount of time, but it could, in theory, take infinity time to make a story good and make sense and be like worth spending the time drawing. Right? I feel very confident by next month I will have the first chunk of this story thumbnailed.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And the cool thing is, like, once you have the thumbnail pretty good, like, you know the story's good.
Yeah.
If you're doing 2 pages a week, like, you actually make the story a little better as you go through, or at least I tend to, like, fiddle with the back end as I go forward. So, we'll see.
Yeah, that's one thing that I always saw as something intimidating about doing a webcomic.
Yeah.
Where, okay, I'm doing 2 pages each week, 2 pages each week, 2 pages each week. If you decide, oh, you know, it'd be better if I went back to that first page and tweaked it a little, or added something that will set up a better payoff towards the end, you can't really go back. Now, the benefit is you can't really go back, so you keep going forward and keep producing more pages. But part of me is like, you know, one of the things I like about just doing a print book, like the final, once you print it, that's the completion of it. Yeah. Is you can go around and tweak things like that.
Well, I mean, you're still doing the same thing, it's just at a different chunk, right? So, like, people that only do graphic novels, like, you could finish 200 pages and go back and fix that stuff.
Like, now it's all, like, webtoons and tapas, so
yeah, like
that's a whole different beast.
Like, you wouldn't have like a Garfield comic go back and be edited from, because it's disposable, right? Like, if it's a webcomic that's a daily kind of gag,
well, that's a different thing.
That's a different thing.
That's like a strip, you know. So I always, in my mind, always think differently about strips versus comics, even though they are like aesthetically the same thing.
Well, you know? We'll just have to wait and see how I do it. Since my patrons are getting it a month early, I do have a little bit of slack. So,
but the end goal is going to be a collection, right?
Yeah, I designed it for print, so
it's going to be a trade paperback, right?
I don't know. Well, something like that.
But something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Some kind of.
It's a graphic novel.
Or a collection of floppies like his. Like, I don't know.
I think some floppies would be cool.
Yeah.
Because you have like the Cloud Town that's like a full feature, and then you can have like your floppies.
Yeah, it's bonus
for people.
I also, man, I want to apply for one of these kiosks in the city. San Francisco has these newspaper stands that are abandoned that like artists can apply for and get free rent.
Yeah, I've seen people like set up in them.
Yeah, I have an acquaintance that was doing it, and so I'm gonna apply for one. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, and
that'd be fun.
Just basically tabling a Comic-Con just in the city, like in the newsstand, newsstand distribution. I mean,
paper, get your paper.
Dude, so I used to do the free newspaper comic in Pittsburgh. We found maybe the place I could print one here. It would be amazing to have like a newspaper in a newsstand, a newspaper comic in a newsstand in a bigger city than Pittsburgh, even, you know, in San Francisco.
Yeah, it would be rad.
It'd be interesting to see what that would do, and like, could I sell enough of those or like sell enough ads to,
yeah,
like, maybe I'm not really. Maybe what this turns into is like I thought it was a web comic. It's like a newspaper comic.
That would be cool. So what's your, like, for like next week or for the next month, like what is your number one goal that you're going to be like doing? Because there's a lot of stuff going on, so like what's the main thing you're going to be focusing on?
Honestly, it's like getting back into like habits, like that's
habits of drawing, or?
Of like making art